We had just gotten home from the hospital, my wife still unsteady on her feet, still foggy from the anesthesia, when the president of our HOA stormed across the parking lot, screamed something about medical contraptions not being allowed, and then without hesitation kicked the crutch out from under my wife. She nearly went down right there on the concrete. And the wildest part, the woman she tried to knock over was the very judge assigned to hear the HOA's biggest lawsuit. That kick set fire to everything. I moved to May Plurist with my wife Sabrina, hoping for a quiet, safe place to start fresh. I work as a legal advisor. Sabrina is a county judge, sharp, respected, steady under pressure. When we first drove through the neighborhood, the lawns were trimmed, the streets spotless, the homes picture perfect. It looked like the kind of community where you'd want to raise kids, grow old, or at the very least, find some peace. But peace was a mirage. Sabrina tore her ACL hiking, and after surgery, she needed crutches for 6 weeks. Not a lifetime, not even a year, just 6 weeks. I had filed every bit of paperwork, temporary disability permit, parking approval, all of it. We did things by the book. The morning after her surgery, I carefully helped her out of the car. She leaned heavy on me every step, slow, her face tightening with pain. And then I heard it, that voice. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" I turned and saw her. Cheryl Davenport. Mid-30s, frosted bob haircut, bouncing oversized sunglasses, leopard print leggings, strutting toward us like she owned the earth. She snapped her fingers as if the world owed her attention. "I'm Cheryl Davenport, president of this HOA," she announced like she expected applause. I tried to explain. "My wife just had surgery. We have temporary parking approved." She cut me off, wagging her finger. "Not if I didn't approve it personally." Then she sneered at the crutches. "Those things aren't allowed in common areas." Sabrina, still pale, tried to reason. "These are medical devices. I'll only need them for a few weeks." Cheryl leaned in, smirking. "I don't care if it's a day or a decade. They're against the rules." And then, right as Sabrina took a step, Cheryl swung her foot and kicked the crutch out from under her. Sabrina gasped, tilting sideways. My heart shot into my throat. I lunged, caught her just before she crashed to the pavement. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from rage. I gritted my teeth. "Miss Davenport, you just assaulted my wife. Step back. Now." She actually smirked, muttered, "You newbies don't know what I can do. You'll find out." Then she turned on her heel and walked away like nothing happened. What Cheryl didn't realize was that our neighbor Elena had filmed the entire thing from her porch. That video would become a wrecking ball, but not yet. That night, Sabrina sat propped on the couch, scrolling her work emails when she laughed out loud. I looked up. "What's funny?" She turned her phone toward me. "Guess who just got assigned to the HOA's civil case?" "No way." "Yep, me." Turns out the HOA was suing 5 families over things like paint colors and garden gnomes. I asked if she'd recuse herself. She just shook her head, smiling faintly. "Not yet. Let's see how deep this goes." The next morning, an envelope showed up on our porch. Violations. Parking in emergency zone, $250. Disturbance in common area, $250. Handwritten at the bottom. "This is just the beginning. Welcome to May Plurist." Signed, Cheryl. I was furious. Sabrina, calm as stone, document everything she said. Photos, copies, timestamps. We're building a case. I walked over to Frank's house a few doors down. He's a retired vet, medals covering his walls, handshake like a brick. When I mentioned Cheryl, his jaw tightened. "She's been terrorizing this place for years," he said. "Uses her lawyer buddy Marcus to keep everyone scared. Frank promised to speak up at the next meeting. She's long overdue for a reckoning." That meeting was chaos. Cheryl stood tall in front of everyone, calling us out by name, rattling off violations like we were hardened criminals. When I tried to speak, Marcus interrupted. "This isn't a courtroom, sir." But Cheryl wasn't finished. She introduced a new regulation: every medical device used in common spaces had to get prior written approval. She locked eyes with Sabrina as she said it. The whole room went quiet. Afterward, Elena approached us with a folder. "I've got more videos, more photos," she whispered. "She's been doing this for months. To seniors, families with kids, anyone she thinks is weak." That's when we realized we weren't alone. Sabrina dug through the HOA bylaws. 12 regulations Cheryl enforced weren't even legally adopted. No quorum, no vote, no record. They weren't rules at all. They were fiction. We weren't just up against a bully. We were staring at a fraudulent regime. We pulled together a little underground committee, me, Sabrina, Elena, and Frank. We built a website where neighbors could post stories anonymously. Within days, 30 people wrote in. Horror stories. A grandmother fined for a wheelchair ramp. A family ticketed for leaving the garage door open. A kid's allergy accommodations denied. It was worse than we thought. That's when the counterattack began. Cheryl sent us a cease and desist letter demanding $100,000 if we didn't stop interfering with HOA operations. We framed it and hung it in the hallway. Marcus upped the ante, threatening a lien on our house for $5,000 in unpaid fines. Sabrina responded by filing a lawsuit for discrimination, harassment, and abuse of authority. But here's the truth. I was exhausted. We hadn't even lived here long, and already it felt like war. Every day brought new letters, new threats. I remember one night sitting on the porch, head in my hands, wondering if we should just pack up and leave. Maybe it's not worth it, I whispered to Sabrina. Maybe they're right. Maybe we don't belong here. She put her hand over mine, steady and calm. We belong anywhere we choose. Don't let them steal that from us. We fight, but we fight smart. The next day, Cheryl herself came swaggering up to our front door, all smug smiles. I just wanted to inform you, she purred, that tomorrow we'll be voting to expel your family from this community. I nodded politely. Inside, I wanted to laugh. She had no idea the judge presiding over the HOA's upcoming case was standing right in front of her, leaning on those same crutches she had tried to kick away. The hearing was legendary. The community center overflowed with residents. Cheryl strutted in like a dictator on parade red blazer, leopard skirt, her lawyer Marcus by her side. They put on a slideshow, and all accusing us of ridiculous infractions, a garage door, 2 reflective planter boxes an inch too tall. When they were done, Sabrina stood. She didn't shout, didn't posture. She simply said, calm and clear. According to Section 3.4 of the HOA bylaws, any new regulation requires a 60% vote. These violations were never voted on. They are unenforceable. She handed proof to the board. Elena passed copies to the crowd. Frank spoke, telling how Cheryl had intimidated him, and then neighbor after neighbor stood up. Each one shared how Cheryl had bullied them too. Cheryl cracked. Her face flushed red. She slammed her fist on the podium. "I make the rules," she screamed. And that's when Elena rolled the video. The projector lit up with the image of Cheryl kicking the crutch out from under Sabrina. The room went dead silent. Then whispers. Then shouting. "Vote of no confidence," someone yelled. Residents surged out, angry, done with her reign. Cheryl tried to scream over the noise, insisting she was in charge, but no one was listening. And then Sabrina, calm as always, looked her dead in the eye. "We'll let the courts decide." The trial sealed it. Cheryl scrambled, brought in a so-called retired judge to defend her, who turned out to be nothing more than a real estate agent who once golfed with a municipal judge. It was pathetic. Sabrina ruled against the HOA on every count. All fines canceled. All regulations illegally passed nullified. Residents refunded. Cheryl and Marcus forced to resign. And worse for Cheryl, personal liability. Restraining orders. Criminal investigations. As officers led her away in handcuffs, she shrieked, "Do you know who I am?" Oh, we knew. And that's where her story ended. Sometimes the smallest act of cruelty, one thoughtless, arrogant kick, can bring down an empire of abuse.